Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite show. I know we've been off for a while. We've had some health issues, and we just want to wish Rick Brandon's wife's mother a quick and speedy recovery. And we just let Grace know that we're all praying for you and your mom, and we appreciate you and everything you allowing Rick Brandon to come on our show each and every Monday night. And I've had some things going on too, but we just want to thank everybody for having patience with us as we go through this. Of course, we've had a lot of things happen since then. We've had the Olympics, which basically knocked the racing part out of our show, and there's been a lot going on in wrestling. So let's get to it. First of all, we can't get to it without the man with the plan. We're talking about the man that thinks he's so good looking, it hurts. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Ref Brandon.
How you doing, Jay?
Doing great, Ref. How are we doing today?
I'm absolutely terrific.
Well, I figured that. You always got a great attitude about how you feeling. Ref, we've had a lot going on. Let's go straight to NASCAR. Of course, this Saturday night I was about to say wrestle. They looked like a wrestling ring when it was all over with all the wrecks. We had the race at Daytona, and Ref, we got a new listing for the playoffs, and basically one race to go, and of course it would be Daytona. We're going to kind of go through the top 16. Where they really finished Saturday doesn't matter, other than for one person that was not anywhere near the playoffs, but now is in it. We'll go over that in just a second. Kyle Larson right now is our leader in the playoffs, and then Christopher Bell is second. Tyler Reddick, another guy Ref for me picked at the first of the year to be in the playoffs, and he is definitely showing it. William Byram is in fourth. Ryan Blaney fifth. Denny Hamlin sixth. Chase Elliott is ninth. Brad Keselowski is eighth. Joey Logano is ninth. Austin Cindric, another one we didn't say, Brandon. Daniel Suarez is in 11th. Alex Bowman is in 12th. This is the guy we're talking about, Harrison Burton, a guy that's not even going to be racing in the car that he won with this weekend, will be in the playoffs at 13th. Martin Truex Jr. is 14th. Ty Gibbs is 15th, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 16. He's up 21 plus points. And these are the two guys that they only have a chance if they finish second, and the other two guys, actually, only way they can do it is if Chris Buescher wrecks and his finishes in anywhere in the bottom three, which can happen at Darlington. Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, that's it. That's the only ones that can race their way in as far as points. But if anybody in the top 30 as long as they win, which brings to Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland, and a host of others still have a chance to get in it. So, Ref, what's your thoughts?
Well, the top 13 are definitely safe because they've won a race. The only guy that's won a race that can't get in because of the win is Austin Dillon, because his win won't count because he basically wrecked everybody but the pace car when he won the race. And, people had a fit about it and got up in arms about it, saying you need to let them, wreck each other and all that. And I get the old school racing mentality, but to me, I've always said this: if you're not good enough to pass somebody by going by them, you shouldn't race a race car. You don't go down the road and get behind a slow car and bump them. You get in the other lane, you go around them. So if everyday drivers can do that on the road, then why can't race car drivers do that on the racetrack? But it's not like he wrecked one car, he wrecked multiple cars. So if you let him by with that, then you're going to start seeing that all the doggone time. But I think what you see now, the top 16 is probably the one that's going to make it. I don't see anybody outside of the top 16 winning this weekend, even though it is possible. I just don't think it'll happen. But, you got to like it for Harrison Burton. I personally don't, because Kyle Busch had the race won and he was going to be in the playoffs. But now, thanks to Harrison Burton, he probably won't get in. But you got to like it for him because he's the son of Jeff Burton, and he's, the fourth or fifth different driver they've had in that 21 car in the past last decade, and they keep firing all of them because people don't understand that the Wood Brothers is not what it used to be. It's not like you're out there driving for a good competitive team. You're not. They keep replacing the drivers thinking they're going to get back to what the Wood Brothers were, but it's not going to happen. So Harrison Burton is now in the playoffs, and to my knowledge, he ain't even sniffed a ride for next year, because I've heard all this, hot seat, new seat stuff for next year, and I ain't heard Harrison Burton's name mentioned anywhere. So I don't know where he'll be, if he'll be in the Cup Series at all. He might be in the Trucks next year or the Busch Series next year. But it was good to see him finally get a win. But Daytona is one of those tracks you just don't never know, because with plate racing, the cars are always so close together. Usually a 1 or 2 car wreck ends up being a 20 car wreck. So by the time the race is over with, about every car on the track has had some kind of damage to it. So you just don't ever know who can win at Daytona or Talladega, for that matter.
I agree with you, Ref. It's crazy. This year's just been kind of all over the place. So I tell you, it's definitely interesting. Ref, let's go to what happened this weekend. Of course, AEW had their big pay-per-view, 50,000 plus. The stadium was packed. I tell you, Ref, I actually enjoyed this card. I wanted to get your thoughts on it as we go through the different. Of course, it started at 12 o'clock Eastern time in the USA, because it was a card that was going to be very long. Didn't get over to like 5 o'clock, and a lot of people are kind of glad it probably was over in Britain, because they was able to go to bed at a decent time by the time they got done with the media scrum. But this was a great show. I enjoyed pretty much every match. There was one match, we'll go over it, that I wasn't that great about. But Ref, let's start it off. The Trios Tag Team Championship, and of course it starts off with Cage, Killswitch, Nick Wayne defending the belts against the Bang Bang Gang, and then the House of Black, and then the team that came in at the end, the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta with, get this, Pac. So this tells me that we might not be seeing Pentago or Phoenix in AEW anymore, because why would you pull Pac away from them? But of course, the match is a very good match, very solid, and it was of course they go after the ladders first, and of course, as we all know, Christian is a ladder king, but this would not help him in this match. We are going to see new triples tag team champions. And we're talking about Pac with the Blackpool Combat Club. What were your thoughts, Ref?
Yeah, there are rumors swirling around that the guys you just mentioned were WWE bound, so I guess I'll have to sit back and wait and find out. If they are, then that would explain why Pac is no longer with them, but the rumors are they're going to the WWE. There's also a rumor that Ricky Starks is going as soon as his AEW contract runs out. But you know how I feel. Any match that has Claudio Castagnoli in it is a phenomenal match. He could wrestle a ghost. It'd be a 5-star match.
Yeah, it was definitely a great match. Of course, we found out from Tony Khan that Ricky Starks is still in AEW. He has no plans to let Starks go. That he is a very important part, but it just seems like, why would you keep him on the outside unless they're planning for a big return? That's the only thing I can think of. Starks isn't, a MJF or CM Punk or something like that, but he does have great talent and he does have a following, but it's just kind of odd to see it this way. But like I said, no, there's no more Death Triangle, at least not right now. But Pac still got his moment in London. I think that was a great way to do it. He's got gold again, and he's got it with your guys, the Blackpool Combat Club. So, like I said, I gave this an A. What would you give it, Ref?
I'd give it an A.
All right, next up is Timeless Toni Storm defending her AEW's world title against Mariah May. And this was a very violent match. It was everywhere, ref. And I tell you what, these two put on A+ match, considering everything that a lot of people thought it was going to be. What was your thoughts on it?
I also thought it was very good. I'm just hoping that now that Toni Storm dropped the title, she disappears for about 3 months and comes back with a new character. I just do not like that timeless thing. And I know I've said that multiple times, but I just can't get behind it. But she's so good, you can't waste her talent. But to me, that gimmick's just ran its course. It's time for a change. But I had a feeling those two ladies would have a good match, but I didn't know it'd be that good.
Yeah, I gave it an A+. I was very, very pleased with it. And just, I figured it would be like a B+A match, but it actually put me loving to see these two. And I think Mariah May's got a very bright future.
Yeah, she does.
All right, after that, we go to Hook and Chris Jericho for the FTW Gold. And, of course, we all felt like there was going to be interference. But Hook had some great backup. We're talking about Taz. Taz hit the Taz mission on Keith. Jericho tapped out to Hook. And Hook is, once again, the FTW champion. This match, I mean, I know Jericho was really trying to give this kid a great match. I gave it a C+. What was your thoughts?
That's about all you can give it, because to me, Jericho's past his prime, and you got to give the man props for continuing to stay relevant by changing his gimmick so much and keep changing it up, keeping it fresh. But his in-ring ability has definitely slowed down and came down the last couple of years.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that you need to keep Hook away from Jericho, put him in a real feud. I agree with that. I think Hook needs to get back his following that he had. A lot of people have, that's the only problem about some of these AEW stars going into hiding for a while, is you lose a lot of the momentum that you carried with fans. And when Hook went away, like on 2 different occasions, it was like the fans were like, is he going to come back? When is he going to leave? I mean, it was always something. So this match, kind of disappointing, but we go to the next match, and I thought this match was going to be awful at first, because lately the Young Bucks have not given the fans what they deserve. This match was different. Young Bucks defended their AEW World Tag Team titles against FTR and the Acclaimed, and it was crazy. Of course, what happened is the Young Bucks were able to retain their titles. It started slow, and then it got better, and then, of course, the Bucks retained with an EVP trigger. What was your thoughts on this one, Brandon?
Well, I've never been a fan of the Young Bucks. I never have. Even when they were in TNA, I've just never liked them. To me, they've always tried too hard to be the younger Hardy Boys, and I've just never liked them. And I was reading articles in the last couple of weeks talking about how people are thinking that the Young Bucks have hurt AEW, especially this new gimmick they have now, where they're supposed to be the head honcho bosses. They had the tag team belts, and they never defend them. So you've pretty much destroyed your tag team division because they never wrestle. But Sunday night was a good match. But I mean, you look at the guys they're in the ring with, and of course it's going to be a good match.
Yep, I agree with that. I gave it a grade A. What was yours?
A-.
Okay, that we're in the same range. I mean, I was a low A, so if we're using the school scales. All right, then we go to the Casino Gauntlet match, and this one was crazy. And of course, we had some great surprises. The first one, Nigel McGuinness. That's right, Nigel McGuinness returns to the ring. This was something I didn't expect. I had heard rumors that he was working out, trying to get himself better, but they never said nothing about a return to the ring. Ref, what was your thoughts on Nigel?
Well, I think it caught everybody by surprise. I mean, he physically looks like he could still go, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost positive back when he was in either TNA or Ring of Honor, they said that he couldn't wrestle anymore because he had been diagnosed with, I think, hepatitis, I believe. And, they were saying he shouldn't wrestle because if he bleeds, he could infect somebody else. So either I dreamed that or AEW just don't care. I don't know. But physically, he looks like he could still go.
Yep, I agree. And another one that, of course, we'll just go down the row. Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada started the match. Nigel McGuinness came out third. I think that was on purpose because they knew that he wasn't going to last very long. He did last quite a bit, but then Kyle O'Reilly came out, and then another one, Zack Sabre Jr. showed up. That was another one that we had heard rumors, but there was nothing that was concrete, so it was good to see him come out. Roderick Strong was next, followed by Mark Briscoe. Hangman Adam Page up next, and then that's when everything got picked up. Jeff Jarrett came out, and Page wanted a piece of him. Page and Jarrett went outside the ring. Jarrett almost got attacked by Page, and then out of nowhere, Ref, Ricochet shows up. He is now AEW. And then final person who just lost the Trios title, Christian Cage, comes out and wins the Casino. I mean, this was crazy. He actually won it. And what's your thoughts on this, Brandon? I mean, honestly, I thought it was an A+ match. They had surprises. It had some great wrestling, great moves. Your thoughts?
Yeah, those kind of matches are kind of like, when they had the Royal Rumble in WWE, that, you have to appreciate the, surprise entrances and shock value and things like that. But at sometimes, at some points, there's so many guys in the ring, it's hard to do a lot of actual wrestling. So a lot of times you just have punches and kicks and random stuff. So it's hard to have A+ matches and those kind of Rumble gauntlet type matches. But I thought the match was really good.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was. And, of course, my guy won. So it's getting an A+ for me. What do you say?
I'll give it A+.
All right, that's what I'm thinking. It just was a great match. And next up is another match that was great. These two should wrestle more. I know they're not going to do it that much more. I think they're going to send MJF after something else. But Will Ospreay dethrones MJF and is now the new AEW International title, as that title is brought back. No more American title. This match was crazy. And once again, another surprise. MJF goes to knock the fool out of Ospreay, and then somebody grabs him from behind, and it's no other than Daniel Garcia. That's right, Garcia returns, and I tell you, this was a great match. Great to see Ospreay get back the title. I think he's going to lead AEW into the future. Him, Sabre Jr., and several others. And what was your thoughts on it, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm with you, and I don't know what's happened, but anybody that listens to our podcast knows that back before MJF won the world title, I was a huge MJF supporter, and when he won the world title, I was all about MJF, but I had just completely soured on him. I don't know if my taste just changed or if he just peaked too soon, but to me, his promo ability is the same now as it was 2 years ago. He's just not getting better, and now other guys are outdoing him on the mic, and that's what made MJF stand out, was his mic ability, and it's just not there now. So I have soured completely on MJF, so I was glad he lost the belt.
All right, well, there you heard it. I gave that match still an A+. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it A+.
All right, then we get to a match that we didn't know what we was going to get, because Britt Baker has only had a match or two since she's been back. Mercedes Moné really hasn't showed much since she's joined AEW as far as her promotion. Ref, this was for the TBS title, and I really think that there could have been more for this match. It did have some good points. I mean, I'm going to give it a B, but honestly, I was so disappointed. Not that Britt Baker lost, it's just the fact that I think you could tell she has some ring rust to her. And Monet it seemed like she was fighting a shadow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but ever since Mercedes Monet has signed with AEW, she, to me, hasn't gotten any better. She's kind of like MJF to me. She's kind of gone backwards. And she was Sasha Banks. I thought she had a chance to have a great career, but now I don't see it out of her. I don't know what happened. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think Baker is going to need to have some more matches. I think they pushed her too hard because she was a bright star before. Honestly, I think Thunder Rosa would have been better in this match with Monet than Baker at this moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They say, the rumor is that Britt Baker is Tony Khan's girl. She gets whatever she wants. So if that's the case, it makes sense as to why she was already, pushed back for a championship opportunity.
All right, now we go to a match that also had a huge, huge surprise at the end. We're talking about Jack Perry versus Darby Allin for the TNT title in a coffin match. Darby Allin hadn't lost one of these, Ref, but guess what? That's over with. He has lost a coffin match, and at the very end, Perry was fixing to set the coffin on fire that had Darby Allin on it, and down came Sting. That's right, folks. It's Sting! Your thoughts, Ref?
Well, I was glad, I think, as everybody would be, to see Sting, but I was actually very surprised that they put Jack Perry over in that match. That was Darby Allin's specialty, so now the match has kind of lost its luster, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, even The Undertaker lost a couple matches, but it's just weird to see it with Darby Allin so young in his career as far as in AEW. And now we go to the match that everybody wanted to see. The American Dragon's career lives on as Bryan Danielson wins the AEW World title over Swerve Strickland. This match had everything in it. It was an A+++ match. Both guys had maneuvers that I thought they were dead. I mean, they had some crazy moves, Ref. I mean, there was the way they hit in some of those slams and just maneuvers. It just kind of, you was worried for him, especially for Bryan Danielson. There was a couple times he hit the back of his head. You thought, oh God, that's not good. But Danielson locks the submission on Swerve Strickland and wins the title. Ref Brandon, what was your thoughts on this match?
Well, I thought the match was incredible, but the only bad part about that match, and my wife and I actually talked about it last night, because with it being over in London, they were done by 6 o'clock. Normally they just get started at 6 o'clock. So last night and this morning we were talking about, some of the matches, and she said she was so glad that Bryan Danielson won. And I said, yeah, but the only bad part about that match was when they announced it was his career on the line, they pretty much told you he was going to win. Because if he was going to retire, you'd know by now. So the only bad part about the match was you knew the outcome for the match started, but it doesn't take away from the luster that the actual match itself was a great match.
Yep, I think it was a great card overall. I gave it an A. We also found out some announcements. Ref, they're going to Australia, and they're also going to be going to Texas and playing where the Texas Rangers are for the next All In. They're going back to London next year. And then there's also another pay-per-view that's going to be overseas that they are going to... Oh, yeah, they're going back to Wembley Stadium for a different pay-per-view the following year. So a lot of big things, a lot of international. AEW sees that the international crowd really loves them. I think that's a smart move, just like WWE. They're realizing, hey, you need to go overseas some if you want to really broaden your range. And I think this 50,000 plus, even though last year was 70, even though you lost 20,000 fans, for what I understand, the buy rates were up. And it was just an all-around great card. Plus the fact that it wasn't done at midnight, I think also helped. They had a prime target range. They was going up against a couple mediocre football games, which I think was a good move. That if they're going to do it this early this late in the year, not to interfere with football, because we all know football's king. Luckily, there was not any big boys playing other than Florida State and Georgia Tech, and of course, we love to see Georgia Tech beat Florida State because that just made Clemson's job a little bit easier. Just a couple. There was 3 matches before. Tommy Billington, Kip Saban, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and Top Flight, which is Darius Martin and Dante Martin, defeated Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Ogogo, Araya Davari, Private Party, which is Zay and Quinn, and the Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Of course, this was basically the way to get as many wrestlers on the card. The only person I didn't see that I was told was going to be there, actually there's 4 people, was Samoa Joe. I know he's still in filming the next year of the show on Peacock that he does, but I thought he was supposed to be there. And also there was Bobby Lashley and MVP and Shelton Benjamin was seen in London this weekend. They did not make any kind of showing on the card. I do understand he was backstage. We'll have to see what comes of that. And then, of course, Willow Nightingale beat Tamura Ishii. Willow Nightingale and Tamura Ishii defeated Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. Basically a scrub match. And then right before the pay-per-view started, we saw Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, who I'm glad is back, Kazuya Shibata, and the Von Erichs, Marshall and Ross Von Erich, defeating the Undisputed Kingdom, Matt Tavern, Mike Bennett, in the Cage of Agony, Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leono. You get a chance to see those matches, Riff?
A little bit of them, but I knew the matches really didn't mean a whole lot. It was just a way to get them on the card. But second of all, it's hard to watch a 16-man tag team match because you know that either the match is going to be really long or each guy's going to come in the ring and do one thing and tag back out. Otherwise, you've got guys in the corner just standing there.
Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts on the WWE right now? Since we had our last show, the Judgment Day has broke up. So now Mommy and Damian Priest are on their own. I think what they're called, the Towers, Destruction Towers, or something to that aspect.
I think so. And you still, I guess, Finn Balor is now the leader of this new Judgment Day little faction they have going on. But all this is a way to be able to continue the storyline between, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley without it being Liv versus Rhea every single show. This way you've got Damian and Dom involved in it, as well, so it can keep going because they're probably the 2 best female wrestlers that you have right now. So you'd be dumb not to have them feud, but you can't just have Liv versus Rhea every single week, every single month. You've got to throw a wrench in there somewhere. And that's what they've done, which I'm fine with that. But, this week you have the Bash in Berlin or Clash in Berlin, whatever they're calling it. So tonight's Raw is basically going to be, the final build-up to that show. But, with Sid Vicious passing away today, I don't know if they're really going to do anything at all except for, show his face on the big screen when it comes on. But, back in the day, Sid Vicious was a really great wrestler for a big man. He never did get the notoriety he deserved because everybody just remembers him breaking his leg on Monday Nitro in that match with Scott Steiner, which basically just, for the most part, killed his career. and there was other times that he quit because he wanted to play softball and just got mad and walked out. So, every time he started getting pushes, he would disappear. But if you just watch his in-ring skills, he was actually a really good wrestler for a big man back in the day. But he wrestled at the time when you had, Big Van Vader and The Undertaker and all the other big men. So nobody thought about Sid, but he was a good wrestler, whether he was Psycho Sid or Sid Vicious or Sid Justice or whatever you want to call him.
Yep, or Jason. Early in his career, he was Friday the 13th guy, Jason. That's when he first took on Kane. The guy that plays Kane now, or played Kane, Glenn Jacobs, remembered Sid in that. And then, of course, Roman Reigns has returned, and now the attention is who's going to return with Roman. Is it going to be the Usos? Is it going to be several other of the Samoan squads? What's your thought on this storyline?
And we've talked about it before, and I still say that Survivor Series is going to be Roman Reigns' bloodline against Solo's bloodline. And I think Roman Reigns' bloodline is going to be the Usos and Sami Zayn. That's just what I think is going to happen. I think the loser of that match will have to completely disband, which obviously is going to be Roman Reigns' bloodline, because Sami Zayn's not really a bloodline member. Plus, they're not going to destroy this bloodline storyline they have going on. So obviously, if it happens, Roman Reigns' team is going to lose, and it may not happen. But Survivor Series is coming up before we know it, and this bloodline thing's been going on forever. Now Roman's back, and he's feuding with Solos, but only makes sense for Survivor Series to be Roman Reigns' bloodline against Solo's bloodline. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
I kind of agree with you. Well, Ref, I know you haven't been able to do any shows lately. Like we mentioned it before, your wife's mother, it needs care, and she's been there as much as she can. Is there any dates that is it just going to be one of those things right now that you're playing it by ear?
I am, and this Saturday will be our 5th Saturday, so SWA is running. And I was originally going to miss this Saturday, too, just to give my wife more time with her mother. But I missed the last SWA show because of that. Plus, one of our referees got killed in a car wreck last week.
Oh, my Lord.
I know that this Saturday is going to be kind of a tribute show to him. And now that he's been killed in that car wreck, if I don't go, SWA ain't got a referee. So somehow, some way, my plan is to be at SWA this Saturday at 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia, for SWA. And, of course, we'll start at 7 o'clock like always. So it could be kind of a sad show because of him getting killed in that car wreck. But he was reffing for SWA, but him and his wife went to every single local show around here. So it's like 8 or 9 wrestling shows that are losing probably one of their biggest, if not their biggest fan, because they went to every show and sat front row at every show, and he got killed in a car wreck early Thursday morning.
Well, our prayers go out to him and his family, we hate to hear stuff like that. We hate to hear about Sid Vicious. We also lost one of the Samoans, the original Samoans, Wild Samoans. Was it Fatu?
It was Alpha, I think.
Alpha, yeah, that's Alpha. So, just a lot of. I remember all these guys because I've been around on this earth, 50 plus years, and you hate to hear stuff like this. But anyway, we don't want to end this thanking our sponsors, of course. Our main sponsor, of course, is The Point RV at Lake Hartwell. We want to thank all the ladies and gentlemen there that everything they do for us. That will be down there for the NC State versus Clemson prep rally. We'll be staying out there that weekend. We'll be having our new TGFF Game Day podcast. We'll be there. If you haven't seen it, it's live. It's on GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. You can watch it. It's the replay. It goes live every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, so we appreciate if you go to that. Also, we want to thank Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Pepsi Cola. If you notice my hat, I'm wearing the Cowboy Revolution hat. I love it. Go to cowboyrevolution.com, use code GSM, and receive 15% off your order. Also, we want to thank TrueVictory.com. If you use code GSM on you can also save 15% on your order. We also, Jesus Seeks is also a new line that we'll be carrying. Home Field, also Upstate Physical Therapy, Clemson Wine Bar. We want to thank each and every one of our sponsors. Ref, tell them where they can find you each and every day.
Find me on YouTube each and every day. Ref Brandon and the Todd family. It's 6 words, and make sure you spell out the word. And it's mainly a college football and wrestling channel, especially now with college football being back. But I do occasionally talk baseball, basketball, NASCAR, and then I do top 10 countdowns that could not even be about sports whatsoever. You just never know.
All right. Well, we appreciate all of our fans being nice to us, and hopefully you'll come back and support us here. We appreciate you. We appreciate Ref Brandon and his time that he gives to us each and every week. We also will be having a special guest join us from time to time. Sheridan Jones, former Clemson cornerback, is now with Team Penske. That's right, Team Penske up in North Carolina. He's going to be joining our own Orange Shades podcast on Fridays, and he will drop in from time to time to be on our show to talk a little NASCAR. So we're looking forward to that. We'll also be talking to some local drivers from the Anderson Speedway, and hopefully also getting a couple Busch and NASCAR drivers. We're still in negotiations for that too. All right, Ref, well, I appreciate you coming on, and you have a blessed day. We want to thank all of our listeners for joining us here on Rasslin Racin, your favorite show for Rasslin and Racing. Check us out on the Fanboys YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.